Welcome to Veterans Archives, where we are dedicated to preserving the stories of our nation's heroes. We hope you enjoy this story. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share our videos. Check us out across all social media. Be sure to like and share those pages as well. And for more information, go to www.veteransarchives.org. Today is Wednesday, March 26, 2025. We're speaking with Amy Bungart, who served in the United States Army. So good afternoon, Amy.
Hello.
Thanks for coming over.
Sure, thanks for having me here.
Oh, absolutely. So we're going to start out pretty simple. When and where were you born?
I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, 1970, so I'm a 70s baby.
Okay. So you're kind of in the same age group. We drank out of the hose and we rode our bikes all over.
Oh,
and all that
absolutely, yes.
stuff. Yeah. So did you grow up in Erie, Pennsylvania then?
Until I was about 6 years old or so, 5, 6 years old. Then
Okay.
we moved south to Volant, Pennsylvania, and my dad worked on the family dairy farm.
Oh, all right. Well, let's talk a little bit about growing up. What are some of your memories of childhood?
Just, your things that you do that you don't even think about. It's like playing hide and go seek, until it's dark, and running across the road, playing with the neighbors. Like my neighbor turned out to be, my best friend growing up, and just every things you played with your sisters or brothers, but I didn't have any brothers, so
Okay.
it was all sisters, older sisters. So it was just fun times growing up, playing softball and pick up basketball games in the neighborhood, and it was just it was good times.
Okay.
Playing down on the farm,
How many sisters did you have?
2 older sisters.
Okay. So you were the baby.
I was a baby, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a middle child, so we all have our opinions of the older siblings and the younger siblings and the middle kid, right?
Right.
But yeah, so you said your dad went to work on the family dairy farm.
Yeah.
So your dad was a farmer then.
For a while there, yeah.
Okay.
It was the Snyder Dairy Farm in Volant, Pennsylvania. It's still going to this day.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, my cousin Scott is running it now.
Okay. And then so what about your mom? What are some of your memories about your mom?
My mom, she worked. She was an X-ray technician, so she went to work at the local hospital. Obviously doing the X-ray department there, and she was just the monarch, the monarch of the family. She was a strong, caregiver. And,
Okay.
yeah, she taught us a lot growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of good life lessons for you.
a lot of good life lessons, a lot of nice, memories, and she was the backbone of the family.
Oh, okay. All right. So did you grow up on the farm then? Is that where you stayed through your childhood, or did you move again?
Kind of, like up to 5th grade. I think we lived out there in the country, and Dad worked on the farm and whatnot, and then he went ahead and got a salesman job for a local dairy manufacturing company, and then we moved to New Wilmington, about 15 miles away from the farm. So that's when we kind of moved into the neighborhood suburbs of New Wilmington, and that's where we did our play and hide and go seek, and drinking out of the garden hose kind of thing, and pick up basketball with the neighbors. And it was just, a great childhood experience growing up, where you don't have that nowadays. You've got kids like knee deep into their iPads and whatever, but
Right, playing video games.
they would freak out if you grab the garden hose and drank out of it right now.
Yeah, I know. Though, every once in a while I'll see like some show or something, someone's drinking out of the garden hose, and I realized that as a kid I would just turn it on and drink out of it. I didn't let it.
Oh, you didn't let it run, right?
No, I didn't let it
Exactly.
run. No, I'm thirsty. I'm drinking it now, and I'm thinking, oh my god, because
Yeah.
who knows what they made that hose out of? And,
Right?
But
It was good. It was good cold water.
It was.
That's how you got, you were thirsty. You just go and grab the hose, turn it on, drink, and turn it off, and go about your business.
we turned out perfectly normal, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
At least in my
Healthier,
opinion.
that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So how was school for you?
School was all right. It was typical grade school kind of thing. Just having that group of friends you always hung out with after school, and you kind of tried sports, and if it didn't work out for you, oh well, then you went ahead and just, did your everyday, after school kind of thing.
Okay.
Got on your bike and rode bikes and hung out, and it was fun.
Yeah, riding bikes was a sport all by itself,
I loved
right?
riding bikes.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I remember all the bikes that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And when the streetlights came on, you came home.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
exactly. And if you got hungry, you just went into your neighbor's house and hung out, whoever you were hanging out with, and grabbed a snack and ran back outside and played.
Yeah.
It
was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so were there any sports that you kind of stuck with, or you just wasn't your thing throughout school?
I got into softball for a while there, and tried track and field, and that didn't work, whatever. And basketball didn't work for me because I was short and little, and but softball was my sport up till my sophomore year of high school, and then my dad got transferred out here to Michigan. So then, of course, the new school already had an established softball team. So it's like I couldn't get in, they were full up. They only had one softball team. So I just kind of said, okay, whatever. Guess I won't be playing softball.
Okay.
And, just ended up getting an after school job, and that was about it for my sports.
Where did you end up in Michigan then?
Out in Spring Arbor.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Down by Jackson, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Familiar with that area a little bit. And so you go through high school and you graduate, and then what happens?
Yeah, go through high school. Well, my senior year, let's go back a little bit. My senior year, everybody was talking about colleges, what college I want to go to, and this and that. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I know. I just did not want to do college. I wasn't college bound. And everyone's taking the prep classes and whatever. And I'm like, I took the classes I needed to take to graduate, basically. So I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm kind of like, I'm thinking military. And a friend of mine was getting ready to do Texas A&M to do ROTC for the Marine Corps. So she's like, Amy, they're doing the ASVAB prep thing. So we did kind of like the prep in high school where they offered it. And then I never did, I can't remember if I took the ASVAB or not in high school when they came in and offered it, in the library or whatever. So I knew I wanted to do military. So then, graduation came around, graduated, and then my dad got transferred back to Pennsylvania. So he and my mom moved back to Pennsylvania. My older sister, Mara, stayed in Michigan. And my other older sister, Susan, was in Pittsburgh at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. So I'm kind of floating. Where do I go? What do I do? Ended up moving back to Pennsylvania with my parents. Then my dad was always on my ass about, what are you going to do? Get a job, do this, And I'm like, right. I know, but there's no jobs. 1989, graduated. There's nothing. There's really no jobs.
Yeah.
No one's hiring. Didn't want to work in a restaurant or anything. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going to apply in a restaurant.
Right.
So I'm found myself driving around one day, and there I am at the recruiter's office. I'm like, okay. So wanted to go Air Force. And then so I go in the Air Force recruiter, talk to him, was talking about kind of the jobs that I wanted. I really wanted to do MP. So he was like, okay, so let's get you, scheduled for the ASVAB, all that stuff. I'm like, okay. So then he was looking at, I don't know if they call it MP in the Air Force.
Yeah, isn't it? They have security forces.
Security force.
SF.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, we don't have a class scheduled till next year. I'm like, no, I want to go now. I want to get out of here. I want to start this. So then I'm like, okay. So I got all his brochures and information and everything. And then Knew I didn't want Navy. Of course, didn't want to do Marine Corps because that's crazy.
Right.
I wasn't Marine Corps material. I knew that. Really wasn't Navy material either. I really wasn't thinking on the way towards, the Navy. So I'm like, all right, there's Army office. Walk into the Army office and start talking to the recruiters. And he's like, not really sure about the MPs because at that time there was a height requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, so he's starting to look and everything. He's like, did you take the ASVAB? Did you take that? I said, no, I haven't even gone that far yet. So he got me scheduled. I said, well, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Air Force too, but, I'm not sure yet. He goes, well, you take the test, it goes to all branches.
Right.
I'm like, okay, let's get this test done. So he got me scheduled, did the test. I scored relatively pretty well. And he was like, okay, let's look at the scores and the jobs you have available and this and that. He's like, stand against the wall there. So I did. He's like, if you can grow about 6 inches, you're all the way to the MPs. I'm like, seriously? I'm like, damn.
Can't play basketball, can't be an MP.
Yeah, I know. I can't play basketball because I'm short. I
Right.
can't be a damn MP because I'm short. I'm like, what the hell? So we were looking at all the jobs and everything. He goes, next thing, we got to get you down to Pittsburgh MEP station, get your physical done, and then we can look at jobs. He goes, that's the next step. So that's what we did. Went down to Pittsburgh, did the whole MEP station, and looked at, did the physical. That's an all-day ordeal, obviously, as you remember.
It's a long day, and it starts pretty early,
That
too.
is a long day. He's like picking me up at 6 a.m. at my house. I'm like, 6 a.m.? Good Lord, man. That means I got to get up really early.
No doubt.
So that's how it all started, got me down to Pittsburgh, did the MEPs, did the physical. That's an all-day ordeal. At the end of your day, you're like, okay, boom, let's get you in line for jobs. So they sit you down with another guy for jobs and this and that. And I really wanted to do. I was all gung ho, so I'm like, all right, let's do airborne. Let's do it all.
I want to jump out of planes.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And so the list of jobs that you could do airborne wasn't that long.
Right.
I'm like, light wheel vehicle mechanic. No, I'm not going to be a mechanic. So my recruiter was still down there, and he's like, all right, let's take a look at what's offered. And we looked, and I'm like, no. I said, give me something that's like cool, that I could really get into and stuff. He's like, 88 Mike. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he's like, transportation. I'm like, he goes, you're never going to walk anywhere.
Right. And if you are, there's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, so he's like, yeah, that's a good job for you to have, and it's going to take you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, when can I leave? Because this was September that I was going through everything. And he's like, we'll get you in delayed entry. He goes, you can leave in November, 2 months. And I was 18 then, so it was like I didn't need mom and dad's permission or their signature or anything. I'm like, all right, let's do that. Let's go. So I'm down there. I'm signing the contract at the MEP station, and this is just the pre-type of contract that you're signing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did. I did delayed entry, 88 Mike training school, and that was it.
And, well, your dad said do something.
Yeah, Dad said do something, so I did.
He showed him.
Right, yeah. So,
for sure.
So then, you get your contract, you get your little, folder and stuff. And so, he takes me back home and everything, and he goes, okay, on this date, you're going to go back to MEP station, you're going to stand in front of the flag, they're going to swear you in. Then, you get your paperwork, this and that, and then we'll put your ass on a flight, and you're going to go to Fort Dix, New Jersey to do basic training.
Lovely.
So between that and departing, I was back home for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Rest of September, almost 2 months, it was basically. So, and I didn't tell my dad any of it. My mom knew.
Right.
I didn't tell Dad anything. So I'm doing this on the slide.
You're just going to leave
I'm just
one
doing
day?
this, right? Yeah, right. So Mom knew everything. Mom was on board. She was, supportive. excellent, good job. And then so Dad came home. He was traveling and coming home on the weekends and whatnot for a week or whatever. He was doing that farm or sales thing.
Right.
So he was like, and of course at that time I'm still getting like brochures in the mail for school.
Right.
Looking at community colleges or something, just get my feet wet to see what's going on. And he again gets on my ass. Well, what are you gonna do? You gotta get a job. You gotta figure it out. Cause I'm just graduated, for God's sakes. I'm like, come on, like give me a break. I just did 12 years of freaking school.
Yeah.
Let me have a minute to adjust and figure it out. And I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna show him. And he's on a tyrant, about what I'm doing. And I'm like, all right. I get up, go in my bedroom, grab my U.S. Army thing, it's all Army this, Army that, and his big old Army stuff on the top of the folder, everything I had. So I came in, I'm like, there you go. He looks and he's like, huh, all right then. I'm like, okay, I leave November or whatever. Mm-hmm. Can't remember the exact date. I knew it was in November. I'm like, now leave me the hell alone.
Right.
I'm like, right. I got like 2 months, man. Let me just get ready.
Yeah. What are you going to do in the meantime, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that was it. He was like, okay, all right, good. Because he was a Navy guy. He did Navy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And he would have served like Vietnam era?
He was Vietnam era.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he did the Navy. My Uncle Joe did Army. My Uncle George did Air Force. So, yeah, I think my dad went and got stationed who knows where, in what boat or whatever he was on. And then eventually he did Japan. I don't really know exactly where my Uncle Joe was stationed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were all like Vietnam type era. Yeah.
Yeah. So the military's not unfamiliar to them.
No.
Okay.
No.
Not at all. So anything exciting happened in that 2 months, or you just kind of hang out?
And I was just hanging out. You know, I was little. I was like 113 pounds, soaking wet. I was strong, but I wasn't like push-up strong or running strong. I could kill the sit-ups all day long, but you're 113 pounds soaking wet. You don't have a lot of upper body strength or whatever. So I was practicing my push-ups and trying to jog and stuff because I wasn't a great runner either.
Right.
So I was, trying to get my upper body because you're going to be doing push-ups all day long as soon as you hit basic training.
Yep.
And I had, guess like a boyfriend I was seeing, and he did split training. He did basic training between his junior and senior year. So he had already done basic training. So he was kind of schooling me on what to expect. He goes, okay, they're going to sit you down in reception station and show you all these things, but I'm going to show you these things first, because he had his, I got our Bible, the basic training Bible. The Army thing, and what to expect, and like your rules and regulations and your standing orders and everything. So I was kind of getting training before I left for basic, which helped me out tremendously.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine. So, that's a great resource.
Oh, yeah. You get in there, and it was, reception station, and it was like, I'm like, oh, I already know this.
Right.
I'm like a step ahead of everybody else. So, yeah.
Although it might help you a little bit, but really.
It helped me a little bit, but it didn't prepare you for what was coming.
Until you go through it. Yeah. I mean, you can have all the prep in the world, but it's still a leg up, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You get to basic training, and everyone seems like everyone arrives like at night or in the middle of the morning or the middle of the night. And was that your experience?
It was like mid-morning when they dropped us off the bus. You got your little, personal bag that you have with you. Yeah. And that's probably the last time you see that thing. So they get you off the bus. They put you, in basic platoon formation, and you're standing at attention, and all these drills just come at you, and they're like this right in your face, it was like, ooh, yeah, this is it right here. And it was like all the little movies you saw in the past growing up. You're like, oh shit.
It's for real.
This is it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, drills getting in your face. And I just like, I knew from what David told me was, just stand there, look straight ahead. Don't stare at him. Don't do this. Don't do that. He practiced with me. He's like, when you're standing there at attention, bend your knees, do this, do that. I was like, okay, I'm kind of like trying to remember everything he told me. So yeah.
Those are all good things to know. You don't want to be the one that passes out,
right? Yep.
And you don't want to be like me, looking over, laughing at someone doing push-ups, and then getting in trouble.
There was this black girl, and her hair was purple. Oh, it was so wrong thing to do.
They did not like that, did they?
They did not like that you had anything to stand out.
Yeah.
So they got in her face real quick.
Yeah. Under the radar is where you want to be.
Yes, you do. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so kind of walk me through basic training. It's 12 weeks there? Is that how long you were there? Or is it
8 or 12 weeks?
Okay.
I can't really remember which one it was. But yeah, it was quite the experience. So, you're standing there at attention, and they're just dropping everybody for push-ups and this and that. And then they get you into the reception station, and you're still wearing like, regular clothes.
Yeah, your civvies.
Yeah, your civvies. And so they're like, they're all in your face and shit. And they're like, okay, so you go by last name.
Mm-hmm.
So they get you into your platoons. And so I remember I was 4th platoon. So we're all just like in this one classroom. And your drill sergeants come in. And I kid you not, biggest, most badass black woman walks in there, and she was senior drill sergeant. And I remember her name, Senior Drill Sergeant Cave. For some reason, you remember that.
Right.
So she was there, and she was just like, you're thinking, oh my God, what did I do?
Starting to question your own judgment at that point.
Yeah, you're like, oh hell. Yeah. So she's like in your face, this and that, and you're standing at attention, and then you're like half turn right, drop, push up time all day long. So at that time you didn't know what the hell was going on, but now you look back on it, and they were just evaluating you. Mm-hmm. Can this new soldier, do a push up? What is she gonna do? Yeah. How is she performing? Are they crying? Are they like breaking down? No, it's like, you just do a half right and drop and do some push-ups. And at that time, it's like, okay, I just did like 1,000 push-ups today. I'm going to do more. So it's, you're like, no big deal. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, might as well get used to it.
So it's like they're evaluating you to see your personality, to see what kind of person you are, to see if you're actually going to be like a good soldier or, a piece of crap. So,
yeah. So, well, everything's a test.
Oh, everything is absolutely a test at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
So you get through your time there. Interestingly enough, I went to Fort Dix for train up to go to Iraq in 2006.
Okay.
After it had been condemned.
Oh, yeah, after they closed it down and made it a deploying fort. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were there for, like 3 months, I think it was, to do train up. Yeah. Very familiar with Fort Dix. Yeah. So anyway, you're in basic training and you're doing your time.
So yeah, I'm doing it all, and they, at that time, they're breaking you down and building you up and breaking you down, and I'm like, and I'm still, like, you go in and you're used to snacking when you want to snack or have a drink when you want to have a drink, or not like like an alcohol drink, but just go get a soda or a pop or whatever you like to call it, and it's like, no, you're like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Drinking fountain, milk, no pop, none of that crap. And it's like, oh boy. And at that time, you're like, okay, breakfast is like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
you walk through. You're like you eating really quick, and you're out the door, and then lunchtime and dinner time, and after dinner, if you eat everything on your tray. Even if you don't like it, you're eating it because you're starving.
Yeah.
Starving. It's like, oh my God. People are sneaking like packets of crackers out and fruit, anything they could put in their pockets were sneaking out. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're running in the bathroom, you're like eating this pack of crackers dry as dust, and you're like and you're like drinking out of the damn sink because you got to wash down the dry dust you just ate. You're starving. It's an experience. It was fun. Oh, really, yeah. Actually, it was fun. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it's either fun or it's not.
It was.
Right?
We made it fun. It was. Actually, I look back on it and I'm like, oh my God, we had a blast.
Yeah.
Even though it was basic training and getting yelled at and you're running your ass off and you're doing a million push-ups, it was a blast. Mm-hmm. And I remember the other two drill sergeants we had, and they were both guys, and they really got us through it. Because they found your weakness and built it. And they knew I was weak in running. So they made the weak runners were, I got to remember what they're called. Road guards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you have to
remember
run
road
back
guards?
and forth.
Yeah. So they took the weak runners and made us road guards because you ran extra. And then I was still kind of weak with push-ups. So Drill Sergeant Cave knew I was weak. So she's like, Snyder, and that was my maiden name. Mm-hmm. They're like, Snyder, every time I see you, you're going to drop and give me push-ups. And I'm thinking, bitch.
why me?
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So every time I saw her, I did push-up, probably like 20 push-ups every time I saw her. She said, doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, you're dropping and giving me push-ups. Well, little did I know, she was building me up. She was making me strong. So I probably did over 100 push-ups for her a day. Not to mention all the other push-ups I was doing for the platoon, for any screw-up or whatever. It's like 4th platoon, half right face, drop, push-ups. It's like every time.
Yeah.
I probably did 1,000 push-ups a day. Guaranteed.
I wish I could still do those.
I know.
Right? I still do 1,000 a day. I'd be a happy man.
There's no way we're doing 1,000 push-ups a day.
Not even in a week or maybe even a month. It's just not going to happen.
I know. Oh, man, yeah. So that was that. And at the end of your basic training, you're doing your final PT test.
Yeah.
Smoked push-ups. Smoked them. Did good. Did okay in the run. I passed the run. Mm-hmm. But smoked the push-ups. And they're like, I'm doing push-ups, and they're like, okay, you could stop now. You're fine, you're done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she got me through the push-ups for sure.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing.
She totally knew, you know? They all did.
Yeah, so how was graduation? How'd you feel about that?
Basic training graduation was just like, oh, hell yeah. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what an accomplishment. I had some family members who lived right close to Fort Dix. Had some family members who lived right there in New York area. So they came down for my basic training graduation. That was pretty cool.
How cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you go from there?
I stayed right at Fort Dix.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, Dix to Dix. That was fun. Yeah, so I did my transportation training right there at Fort Dix.
Okay. And how long was that?
I think that was either 8 or 12 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's when you go co-ed. Mm-hmm. That's when you start to intermingle with the males. And it wasn't like, hoo-hoo, dating time. Oh, no. Right. It was just, hoo-hoo, yay, more of basic training mixed in with school.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
What's interesting about 88 Mike is right around that time, I had a lot of friends who joined the Army. And a lot of my female friends were truck drivers or transportation. It's interesting that was kind of a thing. So when you're at your AIT and you're going through 88 Mike School, was it a pretty good mix of guys and gals? Or
yeah.
Yeah,
it was 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, there wasn't like more men than women or more women than men. It was a good 50-50. And it was surprising that Probably about 60% of us was active duty, and the rest were National Guard or reservists.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So even like a mix within the branches.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get done with school, and then where are you off to after that?
Got done with school and went down to Fort Hood,
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fort Hood. It's warm down there.
It was.
So was that your first like duty assignment then? That your first unit that you were assigned to?
Fort
Okay.
Hood. It was actually I wrote some stuff down so I wouldn't
Yeah,
forget here. So let's see here. It was spring of '90. So went to Fort Hood. It was the 180th Transportation Battalion. Then I got assigned to the 406th Transportation Detachment out there. So that was interesting.
Yeah. What kind of stuff did you do?
The detachment was basically trailers. We assigned all the drivers from the surrounding areas, whether it was within our battalion or not. If they came in and had a mission, it was our responsibility to get them a flatbed trailer to go and take care of it.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
I was with them, let's see here, through 91. And I deployed to Saudi with the 180th Transportation Battalion. And we supported the 70th Trans Group I think they're out of Fort Eustis. They were out of Virginia somewhere.
Yeah,
Fort Story or Fort Eustis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Familiar with I was stationed in Virginia for 4 years, so we used to go to both of those places all the time.
I think it was Fort Eustis is one that comes to mind the most. I think they were out of Fort Eustis.
Yeah, because I think Fort Story was it was a different kind of army base, but yeah, Fort Eustis was definitely. So you're over there with them, and you're providing them support then?
Yeah, we did a lot of different things when we got to Saudi. We got to I got to Fort Hood spring of 90, and then we deployed to Saudi Arabia in November of 90. So by the time I got there, got to my unit, which was right around when Saudi was kicking off and everything, and I remember going in to meet my new commanding officer, and they give you the spiel, welcome, blah blah blah,
open door policy, yada yada yada.
If you have any concerns, please just come on in. Yeah, right, that's bullshit.
We know how that works.
But his big thing, he's like, welcome aboard, we're here. He goes, now get your ass ready, we're going to Saudi, we're going to war. I'm like, fuck.
It's not supposed to happen this quick.
Right. I'm like,
you might as well get it out of the way, right, Amy?
Right. So I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm looking at a timeline here. So
how long is your deployment to Saudi?
They didn't have a time frame.
Oh, you just kind of went?
We just kind of went. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me fix. Okay. So let's see here. So we get there in November, and we get to I want to remember. Do you remember the airfields over there? Was it Bahrain or?
I'm not really familiar with anything in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
I was in Iraq.
Okay.
In the time frame you're talking about, I was actually in the Navy, floating around the Caribbean. So.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I bet. Let's see here. Let's see. So I can't remember the airfield.
Probably Bahrain.
Bahrain. Yeah, that sounds
that's probably
familiar.
where you were at.
So we get to that airfield, and then we go into this place called Tent City, waiting to figure out where we're going, what we're doing. Are we staying here? Are we going somewhere else? So there was the 180th was going to the port. So certain companies were staying, certain companies were going. So we were part of that group that went to the port to help unload. Our first job in there was unloading the ships.
Okay.
So that was at the port of Dammam. So all these ships came in, and of course, they're bringing in all kinds of vehicles and tanks and this and that. So it was our job to go to the bellies of the ships to drive whatever vehicle to the center so the crane can grab it and lift it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did for a month, and that wasn't really enjoyable.
Sounds kind of boring.
It was.
Is that right?
It wasn't. It sucked because for one thing, you gotta like this little ladder, right? So you're going this ladder all the way down, driving these vehicles to the center, so the crane can take it. Well, it's like 1,000,000 degrees in there. I don't care what time of year it was hot as hell. So we're doing that for a month, which I don't know, whatever. We kind of just made it fun. You made everything fun.
Yeah, do what you can.
Yeah. And then right across from where we're working on the ship was the warehouse where a unit out of Pennsylvania, can't remember where, was stationed, and their job was to work the port as well. Well, I got to meet a bunch of people in there and hang out because we would just go over there, use a latrine, hang out with them, in our downtime, because we were like a 12-hour, 24-hour shift over there on the boat trying to get these vehicles out for everybody. Well, ended up, that is the warehouse that got hit by the Scud. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And just blew all to hell. Maybe within a month before I was there, I was hanging out right in the warehouse, right where it got blown up.
Yeah. I
was like, holy crap. Yeah. And then we saw footage of what happened. We're like, oh, shit. That's my first experience of almost dying over there.
Right.
Yeah, I could have been blown to bits.
Yeah, you could have been in there when that happened.
I could have been gone. And there were such craters and devastation that people were never found. God rest their souls, but they were never found.
Right.
It was horrible.
Right.
So yeah, that was my first almost dying over there thing. And I've had there's some stories to come about more possibilities. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing this for a month, and then
a month or so. They had us there, like rotation shifts, getting these vehicles off. The only thing we couldn't drive to the center, obviously, was some of the armored vehicles.
Right.
We didn't have the clearance to drive those. So pretty much every other vehicle we could drive, we drove.
Uh-huh.
So.
Okay. And then what was your assignment after that?
After that, we went. Let's see here. We went into we stayed at the port, but then went to a different part. We just did more trailer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went into like the KKMC, King Kamad Military City. Did some ammo supply points, and that was one of our main areas. We were like maybe 40 miles from Iraq then.
Okay.
Yes, we were moved way inland.
Yeah.
Way up to the line, because with our trailer company, they had us do the ammo supply point, which was acres and acres of any kind of ammunition that was needed.
Right.
So we were right there. We had the Marines, some Marines doing guard, security and whatnot. And we had a Patriot unit that was just over the berm set up because we were targeted.
Right.
We were it.
Right.
So any ammo they needed, the drivers would come in. We'd have a list of what trailers and ammo they'd have. And we'd get in our trucks, drive the yard, pick up the trailer, bring it up for them, and then they would go. So it was our job to get all that ammunition ready for the guys coming in. So it was like, many times it was like Scud launched, see the Patriot go up, boom. Right. All right, let's go back to work. Because we knew if a Scud would hit us, we were done.
Yeah, I mean, there's
nothing you could do.
Right.
You just had to accept it. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, we had a great missile defense system, and thankfully the Scud missiles weren't all that fantastic. But
They
But
weren't, but
every
then
once in a
some
while.
got through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Every once in a while,
Yeah.
they'd get lucky.
It's like every morning we'd walk the perimeter
Mm-hmm.
and pick up shards of Patriot Scud mix. So
Yeah.
every night there would be like fireworks in the sky. Because, we were like probably within the number 1 or number 5 target for those Scud units to
Oh yeah.
shoot at.
Yeah. And I think people don't understand, like when you talk about an ammo point like that, it's not some little guard shack with some rounds of 45 in it. It's literally like a base
It's
packed
acres
full of ammunition,
acres of ammo.
stuff that explodes.
Yeah. Yeah. So if one Scud gets through, we're done.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Clearly, it didn't happen because you're sitting here
Clearly,
today.
it didn't happen. Yeah, many times it could have happened, but there's number 2, 3, or 4 case where I shouldn't have been here right now. So.
Yeah. So you're there. Is that what you did throughout the rest of the deployment? Then was work this ammo point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how long did that end up being?
That was through March.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And
Well, because that initial engagement didn't really last that long, did it?
no, because I remember when the ceasefire thing came through, and it came through on the radios, and we're all like, "What'd they just say?" We're like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah. Saddam wasn't really serious about holding on to Kuwait anymore.
Not at all, not at all. And it's kind of interesting some of the things that happen over there because obviously the Saudis, Iraqis, the men just hated the women, treat us like dogs,
Right.
And then so for females to be in uniform and to be like equals to the guys, they did not like that at all. Oh no.
Equal or in charge of, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And when they would see us driving, so we'd be driving like little missions here and there. Like you're driving and your M16's like this, right, out the window because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And then you pass, some Saudis on the ground or whatever, and they're just looking at you, and you're like, "You son of a bitch, try it."
Right.
You're like, "Please give me a reason."
Yeah, like I'm driving. Right.
Right. And then they would always try to tell the guys that I would be with, she needs to walk behind you or this or that. And I'm like, and I was very vocal at that time, if you can imagine.
No, not at all. I can't picture that, Amy.
So I'm literally telling them, F off,
Right.
basically. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
So and so, such and such,
Yes.
and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else happened while you were there on that deployment?
Just we got to meet a lot of different soldiers
Uh-huh.
from different countries. We met like Egyptians, French Foreign Legion. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Oh, the Brits. The Brits are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like again, you seem to be the kind of person like, it's lemons. I'm going to make lemonade or grab some tequila and salt or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. So you finished out your deployment there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, I had a little issue with my heart, so I had to get medevac out to Germany in March.
Oh, okay.
And again, there's another case where I shouldn't be here. I should have died over there.
Well,
Really,
what
because of my
happened?
heart condition. I had a heart condition.
Oh, but you didn't know that you had.
Right. And whether it was brought on by all the stress, all the experimental drugs they were slamming into us, it's like walk through this tent, and get jabbed in each arm 100 times. And
Right.
who knows what they were giving us,
That hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't, has it?
No, it hasn't.
So whether I had a reaction to all that, the chemical biological drugs that we were taking caused me to have heart condition where I got to the MASH unit and they were like, I had heart rate of like 30. I should have died.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I shouldn't be here again.
Right.
I don't know how many times over that has been. So I was like, oh shit. And I was like, and the doctor that came out and he was like, holy hell, how are you alive right now? Yeah. So they medevaced me out to Germany, Landstuhl, Germany. Mm-hmm. And the doctors there are like, okay, we got to give you a pacemaker or you're dead. I'm like, oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I think I'll go with the pacemaker.
Yeah, can I think on that? Can I
Yeah.
let you know tomorrow? Right.
So yeah, I'm in Landstuhl, Germany, getting a pacemaker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it fortunate that you're such a small person that you were able to, your body was able to handle that?
I don't know. A lot of people have pacemakers, I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
true. That's true. Yeah. No, I just mean that your heartbeat was like 30 beats per minute and you're still.
Yeah, I don't
talking.
know. I don't know how I lived.
Yeah.
Really, they don't know because, it just happened. And I was like, man, I'm kind of dizzy. What the hell's going on? I thought we were having a gas attack or something, or Scud
Right.
attack, or with a chemical, biological, warfare on there. And I was like, wow, I don't feel good. So that's when they took me into the MASH unit, and the doc was like, what the hell?
Get her out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. I was like,
So how long were you in Germany?
oh,
then?
I got to be in Germany for over a month.
Oh, did you? Did you? So
Yeah, imagine that.
did you recover pretty quickly so you could go enjoy Germany?
I did.
Awesome. Well, tell me
It
about
was kind of funny because,
Yeah.
like the next day I got there, they were like, okay, you're getting a pacemaker. You're going to die. Okay, pacemaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And then, like, they are calling my parents back here in Pennsylvania and letting them know what's going on. And the doctor's, like, telling my mom's, like, yeah, you don't need to get on a flight to get over here. She's all right.
Right.
It's okay. So that's going on. And, like, the day after my pacemaker surgery, they were like, okay, you need to call your parents because they're freaking out. So, I'm talking to them, and the doctor actually talked to my parents, let them know I was okay, and this is what was going on and whatever. So it's like probably within a week of my surgery, the doctors were like, okay, here's a pass. Go enjoy, the Landstuhl area, whatever. And they're like, just this is what they said, go out and enjoy it. Just don't get too drunk. I'm like, okay, you're speaking to someone who came out of the desert after 6 or so months, not to get too drunk.
What does too drunk mean? That's pretty vague, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I met up with a bunch of other people there from, med-hold type soldiers. And there was like Navy, Marines, Air Force guys, we're all thrown together. A few women, but more men.
Of course.
So we all started intermingling and just went out and everybody else was on a pass. We're given day passes out of the hospital and to, check out the countryside or whatever. And of course, we were all in our desert camis. We had nothing else to wear. So we're walking around and walked up to this German checkpoint. It's kind of a cool story. We walk up and German soldiers are kind of speaking a little broken English. And I had my boonie cap on, and the German soldier, I should have brought with me, German soldier had his beret on or whatever, and he's pointing to my hat. I'm like, my boonie cap. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh. So I take it off, and I point to his beret, so we swapped.
Oh, how
So
cool.
I got a German beret at home. Yeah, I should have brought it. I didn't think about it. But yeah, we swapped, and I'm like, I just got a German beret from a soldier. That's probably pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you wear it around?
I actually put it in my pocket, let it stick out a little bit. I couldn't wear it. No,
Yeah.
I put it in my pocket, let it stick out a little bit. And then, of course, got another, boonie cap when I got back into the hospital. But, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
A German beret.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool things you kind of collect as you're out there doing stuff.
Yeah.
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 Any other cool stories about Landstuhl, or did you just kind of recover and
just recovered?
Yeah.
Just made some good friends. Waiting, they're waiting to get, figure out what's going to happen to them. Are they going back to their bases? Are they staying in Germany, wherever? But yeah, we stayed in Germany because there were so many med-hold soldiers just coming through, and guys that were worse off than I was. So they all got, like ahead of the line, basically. Yeah. Like they needed to get on the next flight out to go wherever. So we just kind of got kicked back to the back of the line. So, and that was fine because we got day passes going to Germany.
That's really not a bad spot to be in,
Right?
Could always be worse.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. And then we finally got our flights, and we knew where we were going back to, and they were flying me back in through, I want to say D.C., Dulles.
Oh, yeah, Dulles International,
yeah.
Yep.
So we were, and they had portions of that airfield blocked off for military transports.
Mm-hmm.
So we flew in, and a bunch of cousins in D.C. area. And as soon as I knew when I was flying in and what time or whatever, they all met me at that little air station. And it was like I was walking off. I was like, wham, like 5-0. I can't even remember who was all there, but it was like, holy crap, you know?
Right.
And then, like, the next day, I was on another flight going to Fort Sam Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up going to Fort Sam Houston and just trying to figure out what was going to happen. Where was I going back to Fort Hood? Where am I going from here?
Mm-hmm.
So it came out. They finally got everything straightened out, and I went to Fort Bliss.
Oh, okay.
Ended up going to Fort Bliss. I couldn't get out of Texas,
Right.
of course. So, yeah, I ended up going up to Fort Bliss.
Mm-hmm. And then, so what unit were you with there?
I was
remember?
with, let me think, 70th Ordnance Battalion,
Okay.
and ended up doing S2, working in their S2 offices and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So
And you're, by now, are you a sergeant by now? Or are you
I
a
was
specialist?
E4 specialist. Yeah.
Huh, the best place to be from what I've heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too much responsibility, but you still have a little authority.
Responsibility, but not a sergeant. So
Yeah.
it was perfect. Yeah.
Well, they call it the E4 Mafia. I
Yeah.
think is the
Pretty
was the term
much.
for it. So how was the S2 shop for you?
It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good work. Good people. Had a good sergeant. Worked for a good sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best sergeants I had my whole military career. He was pretty awesome.
Oh, that's great.
I think I still remember his name, Sergeant Wilson.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you remember these people.
Yeah. Well, I remember coming out of OCS. I spent 14 years enlisted and then went to OCS. And as a platoon leader, Sergeant First Class Lucas was my very first platoon sergeant. Never forget the guy. Like, he trained me right. He always took care of me and always took care of the troops.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you always remember those people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you remember the people that didn't do all the right things
exactly.
too.
Yeah, I know a few of those.
Yeah, the people that taught you how not to lead.
Right.
They're out there as well.
Right.
So how long are you with that unit?
I was with him until 92.
Okay, so you were there for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay, and then where'd you go from there?
Then I had a decision to make, do I get out or do I, stay in and see where it takes me? And I was like, at that time, because of the heart condition I had now,
Right.
they gave me what's called, profile. It's basically you can do this, but you can't do that. They gave me, restrictions.
Right.
And I was like, oh, man. And then I went to my sergeant. I'm like, look, I've got these restrictions. I got this profile. Am I ever going to get promoted? He goes, you can get promoted, but the next guy above you is going to go guaranteed before you.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not going to go to PLDC because this guy can do more than you, or
Right.
this gal can do more than you. It's not because you're a woman. It's because of your restrictions.
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be an E4 for the next 10 years. I don't want to be an E4. If I'm staying in, I'm going to go sergeant, and on up.
Right.
That wasn't going to happen. So I made the decision to leave active duty.
Okay.
And get out at the end of my enlistment and then see what else is out there.
All right. And now I got to ask, were you married in this period? Okay.
I was single.
Okay.
Living the happy single life. The
Okay.
fun single life
There you go.
of an enlisted soldier.
Yeah. So you get out, and where do you go?
I went back to Pennsylvania,
Okay.
which it was good and bad.
Was your dad like, now what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. It's like, I don't know. I should probably have explored more of the United States than to go right back home. You look back on it now, and it's like, you should have done this and not this.
Yeah.
Or,
Home was comfortable though, right? I mean,
I guess.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So you kick around at home. Did you ever
Kick
take that
around at
waitressing
home.
job you were
No,
looking
hell
at?
no. No. I reconnected with some family members and looked up some friends And, eventually I ended up, exploring the United States, basically, checking things out, going down to North Carolina for a little while. And then things really, didn't pan out there. So I ended up going back up to Michigan to see my sister. She said, come up here, we got a room for you. And, the job I was in North Carolina didn't work out. So I'm like, all right, let me, and I'm like 20, how old was I then? I was just getting 27.
Okay.
Just about turned 27.
Okay, this is like the mid-90s.
Yes.
Mid to late 90s.
97.
Yeah, things are a little bit better than they were in the 80s.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I ended up, moving back up to Michigan here and getting my shit together, basically. Eventually staying, obviously, and finding a good career and eventually meeting my husband. So everything worked out, whereas, if I would have done that, this wouldn't happen,
right?
Kind of thing.
So I don't know. I kind of believe it this way. Like everything happens for a reason, right?
Yes.
It all brings us to the point we're at now.
Yes.
Good, bad, whatever. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here if you and I hadn't have done all these things that we did, and now here we are talking.
Right.
Yeah. So your career, you worked in the prison system?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I was a corrections officer for 19 years.
How'd you get into that?
Oh, man, I just kind of fell into it.
Really?
Yeah, you just don't like, whoo-hoo, I want to be a corrections officer. No. just like Brad Benzinski, it's like, you don't like go into construction and then be like, no, I want to be a corrections officer. It's not how it happens.
Yeah, it just sort of comes your way. So did you work in several different units, or were you like in one facility? I
was in like 4 different facilities.
Okay.
And it was all men's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically it was in Jackson. And then I worked one prison up in St. John's area. So, but yeah, it was a job, it wasn't fulfilling. I didn't think I made a difference. It's like they're in prison for a reason. I'm just here, I'm going to do my job as well as I can, as much as I can, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't all gung-ho and like, woohoo, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, I didn't look at it that way.
Didn't really want to disappoint yourself.
No.
Yeah.
No. Because I knew, I wasn't going to make a difference. I wasn't going to turn these guys around and, they're going to be like, oh, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a better person. And no.
It's not like the movies.
No, it's not like the movies at all.
I'll bet. So tell me, how'd you meet your husband?
Mutual friend.
Okay.
Actually, we all went out one night and we're just all hanging out and he just so happened to be there. And it's like, hi, I'm Amy, and hi, I'm Scud, and just kind of hit it off that way. And lo and behold, a couple days later, we go out for a lunch date, and there you go.
Wow, the rest is history.
Yeah, and if I didn't go out that night, I'd never met him. It's just
right.
Like everything happens for a reason.
There'd be a different Mrs. Bungart somewhere.
Right, absolutely.
Or something like that anyway. So you're retired now then?
Yes.
Enjoying retirement?
Yes.
What kind of fun stuff do you like to do?
Oh man, I'm trying a lot of different things. Just like enjoying time off from not having a set schedule. I don't have any pressing things happening. I'm still active. Still like to do stuff. I'm an outdoors kind of girl.
Yeah.
So I want to be outside more than inside. And, my friends that I have from the prison system from when I work, one of my friends got me into pickleball.
Okay.
So, I play pickleball like 3 times a week and meeting friends through pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
You know what we need in Michigan? We need a chicken and pickle.
What?
It's called Chicken and Pickle. It's a restaurant that serves like chicken, but they have pickleball courts.
Oh, no.
It's called Chicken and Pickle. And I heard about it through a business group that I belong to, but we don't have one. And someone was saying, we need one of these because pickleball, like, it's a lot of fun. People have a great time playing it.
It's a blast.
Yeah. Unless you get beat. Like, I get beat pretty bad when I play. I'm not really that great at it. But it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, where do you play?
I play in Eaton Rapids, Jackson area. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. You guys do any farming anymore, or are you all done with farms?
Well, my family still owns the Snyder Dairy Farm,
Right.
and that's in western Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So, as far as I know, it's still up and running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are the plans for the future? Anything upcoming, or are you just going to take it as it comes?
Take it as it comes. Really,
All
we have no immediate plans to do anything. Eventually, down the road, probably in a couple years, when the interest rates drop and everything, we're probably going to look into moving out west or possibly Tennessee area, just because the cost of living is so much better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can live much nicer in some other places. Sure.
And my husband just retired, so as two retirees, you're still like in that groove of wanting to do stuff, but then you're like, oh, I'm retired now, so we need to figure some things out. And
right. Yeah, you don't want to fall into that trap of not doing anything, but then you don't want to do everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you able to, like, when you were traveling the states, then were you able to like pick out some areas that you really liked? I mean, you mentioned Tennessee.
Yeah, we did a vacation to Tennessee. We loved it. Beautiful, beautiful. Just went out to South Dakota and Wyoming, and it was our second time in South Dakota. So it was beautiful. We love the West. Absolutely love it out there. It's gorgeous. So nice. And it's like nothing's for sale out there, though. You
Right.
can't find a house for under $500,000 out there. It's ridiculous. So, because everybody wants to live there now.
Oh, right. Well, everyone watched Yellowstone. Now they want to be
Oh,
out
yeah,
west,
right? Yeah. Move to Montana.
It'll all wear off eventually, I think.
Yeah, but it's like, you can't really touch anything that's affordable out there right now.
Yeah.
So it's like because no one wants to leave.
Right.
No one's going to sell their house.
Right. Right. Well, there's always Tennessee, I guess.
Yeah.
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 Well, Amy, it's been great talking with you this afternoon. I always ask everyone the same question. Well, actually, two questions. One, is there anything we haven't covered that you wanted to talk about?
No, let me see here.
I know you brought your
notes.
notes.
I wrote my notes.
And I think we covered a lot of stuff, but.
Oh, I got a good story to share.
All right.
This is back in Saudi when we were at the port. So our company chaplain, somehow he arranged some tugboat trip thing, into the Gulf. So it's like, obviously 90 degrees plus every day. So we're all like jammed into this little tugboat thing, and they're taking us out to this sandbar. And it's not a party thing or, party barge or anything like that.
Right.
People are thinking like, ooh, big party. No, it wasn't at all. It was just a bunch of people jam-packed in this little barge just to go out and enjoy the water. Well, they dropped the end. It was in...
Oh, like the gangplank or whatever?
Yeah, the gangplank.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the boat was called offhand.
Okay.
Of course, a Navy guy would probably
It's probably
know.
like an amphibious type boat, right?
Probably,
Where
yeah.
they drop the the back
exactly.
down and like everyone can go off at the same time.
Yeah, kind of like what you saw in like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, yeah.
Storming the beaches, like
Amphibious assault.
yes,
ships.
amphibious assault vehicle.
Yes.
Right.
There you go.
So they drop it down, and then the captain of the place is like, "All right, we don't normally do this, but enjoy the water. We're out here for a few hours," and we're all like, "What the hell?" So some of us kind of knew in the back of our minds what we would do out there. So a lot of us wore PT shorts underneath our BDUs.
Yeah.
And we're all stripping. I mean, it was just the funniest thing because we're all just like stripping off our BDUs. Everyone had, piles of BDUs all over the place.
Right.
And everyone's just jumping in the water, having a ball. Everyone's grabbing the little flotation rings, floating around like it's a big party. And it was the most fun we had over there, hands down. It was like we spent like 3 or 4 hours out there. Everybody's just getting cooked by the sun. We didn't care because we were all swimming and having a blast. We all come back and we're all soaking wet. And we get back to wherever, our units are, and they're all like, what the hell did you get? Because we're all soaking wet.
Why are you guys all wet?
Sunburnt and all just had a blast. But, yeah, that's like one of the funnest things we ever did over there.
Oh, that sounds like a blast. Yeah,
just a fun story to share.
It's interesting how people in the military can find fun.
Yeah.
in the place where you wouldn't think you'd find anything fun to do at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, great. All right. Well, the second question is this. As people will listen to this years from now, which is the whole idea behind doing this, what message would you want to leave for people?
Like about the Army, or
Just about life in general. Like you've lived a pretty full life. You've got to do a lot of things that, I mean, when you think about it, I just did that. But a lot of people are like, how do you, I would never be able to do that.
right?
So,
Yeah. Basically, if you want to do it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just think, oh man, I really wish I could do it. Just do it, because I graduated from high school thinking, maybe the military, and I did it, and I wasn't afraid to do it because I'm very adventurous. So, I mean, the military was like right up my alley because I didn't mind going to different duty stations or trying different things or going over here and doing this or that. I just did it.
Yeah.
And like, I would have never in a million years have thought to go into corrections, but I just did it because that was the path that was laid out in front of me. So I did it. And don't be afraid. Just do it. And if you don't like it, then, I don't like it, but I did it. I tried it.
Yeah. Like that famous shoe company, right? Just do it.
They're not that famous anymore.
Right. Well, Amy, thanks a lot for coming out on a Wednesday afternoon and talking with me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I had a nice time.
You're welcome. Thank you for watching Veterans Archives. We hope you enjoyed this veteran story. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share our videos, as well as checking us out on social media. We're on Facebook and TikTok, LinkedIn, X, and Instagram. Be sure to check out those pages, share, and like. And for more information about what we do, go to www.veteransarchives.org.